Good afternoon, you lovely people. Welcome back to Lily White Lane. I hope that you're all having a really good Thursday and week wherever you are in the world and whatever you are planning to get up to today. Let's talk Tottenham, which no one in the Spurs fan base on YouTube this morning seems to want to do. You're never short of drama on Spurs social media, bloody hell. But look, I wanted to ask you guys the question: would you prefer Tottenham getting top four this season, or would you prefer it if Spurs won a trophy? Because I think this question over the years, even 2-3 years ago, would have really split opinion in the fan base. Whereas now, and there still might be people watching this who would prefer top four, and fair enough. If you would, comment down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll be very happy to discuss and debate them. But I think most Spurs fans now would prefer us to win a trophy, whether that be a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, the Europa League, a Mickey Mouse Cup, an Audi Cup, you know. So, look, I think most Spurs fans, joking aside though, would prefer us to win a trophy compared to getting into the Champions League. Because we've gotten into the Champions League in previous seasons and it hasn't made the blind bit of difference. There is no point qualifying for a competition you're not going to, challenge for or contend for if you're not going to use the money you get from qualifying to invest in players that will allow you to contend with the big sides. The whole reason, getting top four is talked about as such an achievement in football is because a lot of clubs who get Champions League football use that money to kick on. It allows you to attract the biggest and best players in the world that then allow you, to contend for trophies, to contend for the league title, and to contend in the Champions League with your PSGs, your Bayern Munichs, your Barcelonas, Real Madrids. Spurs haven't done that in the past, and Spurs, in my opinion, won't do that if we get Champions League. Our record amount of money we've spent on a player is 65 million, right? One of the lowest out of the top 10 in the Premier League, not just the top 6, right? We don't invest big in players. We never have, and we probably never will as long as ENIC and Levy are here. We don't go out there and make massive statement signings and sign some of the top players in the world, even when we've gotten Champions League in previous seasons. We could have gone in for Bastoni a few years ago. Who did we bring in instead of Bastoni? Clement Longley. Could have gone in for Skriniar when we had Champions League under Jose when he first came in. Who did we go in for? Joe Rodon. So, Champions League doesn't make any difference for Spurs if we get in it. Whereas winning a trophy, I think, would be absolutely massive for this football club. It will start to change the mentality at this football club. It's constantly at the back of the heads of those players, as I say, contending for trophies. The pressure on them, the fact that we haven't won one for 14 years. The scrutiny they'll be under if they get knocked out and cost us again. We can't win another trophy. So, I do think, as I say, winning a trophy would be a lot better for this football club. I do. But that's my opinion. Probably yours. Again, if it isn't, comment yours down below if you would like top four. But what are the club going for? Because in my opinion, the club are going for top four. The club are prioritising Champions League. That's what ENIC and Daniel Levy want. That's what they've always wanted, and that's what they always will want. Because they don't look at Tottenham Hotspur as a football club. They look at Tottenham Hotspur as a business, and getting into the Champions League allows you to make a profit. It allows you to sell on some of your assets for more money. So, from a business point of view, getting Champions League is the biggest priority, which really, in my opinion, shows a lack of ambition from this ownership. If Ange Postecoglou gets into the Champions League, will we go out there and sign 80 to 90 million players? Not even necessarily the money, but will we go out there and sign stars? No. It's not about what we do to kick on. It's just about keeping that money coming in from qualifying for the Champions League, which for me makes no difference whatsoever. But it's definitely the club's priority, which I do get why. I nearly said I don't get why, but I do get why. But it frustrates me. It frustrates me that Spurs are looked at as a business. It frustrates me that what matters is the profit, not the success, not the glory. It frustrates me that what's cared about more is the concerts and the NFL than the quality of player that we're bringing in. When you look on the website, little things like this. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Stadium to host events of all sorts, concerts, NFL games and Tottenham Hotspur games. Tottenham Hotspur games should be the first thing that you mention. But it's not, because we are run purely as a business, not as a football club. Not as a business and a football club like so many other, teams in the country and in the Premier League. So I've asked you guys the question. Comment your thoughts down below. Top four or winning a trophy. Again, there might be some of you who would prefer top 4, but I think most fans now, because we've gotten Champions League in the past and it's made no difference, I think most fans now would prefer to win a trophy. But are we going to focus on a trophy? I'm not sure. And this is where my criticism of Ange Postecoglou comes in, because last season we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by playing not even a B team, a C team really. An unbelievably weak team. And Ange, defending himself after the game as to why we got knocked out, said he needed to find out what his players are about. Why is that the mentality at the football club, and why are you doing that in cup competitions? You've got 38 games in the Premier League in your first season. Why do you not take risks in those games? Start playing youngsters in those games, rotating the squad and seeing what your players are about in those games. Cup competitions, you lose one, you're out. It's not the time to start rotating. It's not the time to start, as I say, figuring out what works and what doesn't work. It's the time to go with your best 11, your best tactics, what's won you games in the past, and put that out there and hope for the best. But did that come down from the ownership? And why do we always get knocked out in cup competitions playing weakened sides? Is it because it's purely not prioritised by managers to go far in these cup competitions? Or is it coming down from the ownership to prioritise the league and Champions League football? Year after year we get knocked out of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup by these Championship and lower league Premier League sides because we field not even a half decent team, a half shit team really. We field a C team, sometimes a B team. Why are we not doing that if we want to figure out our squad in the Premier League games instead of in cup competition? So this season, I want to see in that Coventry game, Ange Postecoglou play our best 11. Our best 11 in that Coventry game, and maybe play a B team in the Brentford game. Because if that game goes tits up, guess what? You've got another bloody 33. I nearly said 34. No, because 5 games in. You've got another 33 games to try and figure out what went wrong there and sort that out. You get knocked out in the Carabao Cup, boom. That's one opportunity of winning a trophy gone. When we're going to have Europa League games, Thursday, Sunday. If you don't have one of the big 6 sides on a Sunday, you play your best 11 in the Europa League, in my opinion. It's a competition. We have a realistic chance of winning. I don't care if we're playing carrier bag away on a Thursday night. Play your best 11 in that game and play a B or C team on the weekend in the Premier League. If your A team isn't fit enough, or if you want to start rotating and changing things around. I want this club to start prioritising cup competitions because we haven't been in the last few years. And in my opinion, there's no evidence of this, but it comes down from the ownership. Because why are serial winners like Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Ange Postecoglou not necessarily a serial winner in the big leagues, but he has won everywhere he's been? Why are these managers who have won trophies everywhere they've been playing weakened sides when we're contending for trophies, but their best sides when we're not and going for top 4? Is it purely the managers, or is it the philosophy of the club and coming down from the ownership? If Ange Postecoglou has got a backbone, he's saying he usually wins things in his second season, saying he wants to contend for the league title. I mean, I want to go on a date with Margot Robbie. That's not going to happen, but contend for trophies then by playing your best 11 and your best players available and your best tactics in games where we're going for a trophy. I don't care if it's Coventry away. Don't rotate players in that game. Don't rotate them in the North London derby either, but rotate them in a league game against one of the bottom half of the table sides. Because if we don't win, if it goes tits up, we're still in with a chance to go on and win trophies. Where if it goes tits up, as I say, in the competitions, we're not going to win the league. So all we've got to go for is Champions League. Which again, like I said earlier in this video, means nothing for this football club if we're not prepared to kick on and sign the stars that most clubs do when they get Champions League. Which we won't. We're one of the only clubs who could. We're not at risk of, PSR and FFP. Aston Villa, I was thinking, why didn't they kick on this summer? And then you see an article in the paper the other day about them being at a risk of a 10-point deduction if they don't. Todd Bowley dealing with his sister club. That's not dodgy, is it? Somehow, I don't get, by the way, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, right? But Todd Bowley owns these 2 football clubs, right? And he's seeing stuff this summer about negotiations falling apart and problems with negotiations. The guy's such a bad owner, right? He can't even negotiate deals with himself with his sister club. But look, Chelsea, as I say, the stuff for their sister club trying to avoid FFP, we can go out there. We've got the money now. Why do we need Champions League to invest the money? The Travis Scott concerts and all the F1 NFL bollocks that comes to the stage. And we've got the money to invest without the Champions League. But even if we got the Champions League, and even when we have got the Champions League in the past, we don't use it to invest and change anything really about the club. The ambition is still just get Champions League football. Means nothing, and this trophy hoodoo continues to get longer and longer and longer, and the drought continues and it continues and it continues. And as I say, I'll be happy to debate and discuss you if there are any fans who prefer top four, but for me, it's trophy all day long, and I don't get how people can prefer top four when we've seen what top four has done for this football club over the last few years. Sod all. Absolutely sod all. So, look, guys, do you think it's something that comes down from the ownership to, rest players and prioritise top four? Would you prefer top four? Would you prefer trophies? Do you think managers such as Ange and any managers going forward, if Ange goes, or as I say, not necessarily when he gets sacked or something, but if he goes in the future, because there will be a day where his time is up at Spurs. I'm sorry, Aussie fans, it's going to be a bad day for you, but when Ange goes and someone else comes in, do you want to see them prioritise trophies instead? Because I can't get my head around how managers who've won everywhere they've been are playing weakened sides in cup competitions. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But look, in my opinion, you should play your first 11 in cup competition this season. If you need to rest, if you need to rotate, do it against Premier League opposition, because you've got a plethora of other games that you can start, figuring out what went wrong and what players work in. Whereas not necessarily the Europa League, but Carabao Cup, FA Cup, lose one, you're out. Europa League, we got the group stage. You start, playing some youngsters, losing a couple of games. All of a sudden, there's 3 games left, and we need to win all 3 to go through, not even top the group. So, play your best 11 in these cup competitions. Prioritise going for a trophy this season. Manchester United, in my opinion, last year had a better season than Arsenal. Did Arsenal win more games? Yes. Did they concede less goals? Yes. Did they play better football? Yes. Did they have better players? Yes. Did they have better, a better manager in Lego Head instead of Erik ten Heisenberg? Yes. But did Man United win a trophy? Yes. The game is about glory. It's about winning trophies. We haven't won one in 14 years. Stop dicking around with trying to get Champions League football and get into a competition that we can't even contend for a trophy in. Go for the trophies that we can go for and that we've got a good chance of winning if we play our best 11 in. Guys, comment your thoughts. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Have a smashing rest of your day. And as always, Comedy Spurs. Enoch can leave you out. In Big Ange, we sort of trust. I'm not sure anymore. The tactics includes defensively. But have a good day, guys. All the best. Catch you later.